Schultz and Wisner. Schultz and Wisner. Lloyd Smith.
There we were, my college debate partner Alex and I, sitting in a classroom at the University of Southern California, waiting for our randomly drawn first round opponent at the 1970 West Coast Tournament of Champions. The door opened and there they were, UCLA's Schultz and Wisner, the #1 ranked team in the nation. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, have you ever lost a game or a contest? And I mean lost in all the capital letters, bold-faced, italics, and underlined. Losing is such a common experience, you can tell by the laughter here, that in reality, all of us really understand that in the grand scheme of things, losing doesn't matter that much. Even if you call a bonehead play and lose the Super Bowl. It could happen. The sun will still come up tomorrow morning and your dog will still wag his tail if you're feeding him. However, losing has a pernicious way of making us feel like losers, making us feel diminished, and that can hurt. Sometimes it can hurt a lot, and our debate with Schultz and Wisner had that potential. Schultz was prematurely silver-haired. He was wearing a beautiful gray pinstripe three-piece suit complete with a watch chain across the vest. But he had the cold, dead eyes of a mafia hitman. Wisner was permanently rumpled and he was mumbling darkly to himself. He looked like he ate crushed light bulbs for breakfast and enjoyed them. After finishing third in the previous year's National College Championship debate tournament, they were on a mission to win it all in 1970. A mission that featured ratcheting up their normally intense aggression to a nearly psychotic level. Now, I know many of you in here are thinking, debate? Isn't that just a bunch of wannabe lawyers arguing? How intense could that be? Do we have any former high school or college debaters in the room? What do you people think? Was it intense? You bet your life it can be intense. It can be stomach-churning intense. Policy debate, the classic two-person team debate, has always been afflicted by swings into excess. When I was doing it, it was like demolition derby without the cars. It had become the ultimate cage fighting of competitive speaking. And Schultz and Wisner, with their unrelenting aggression, their ultra-high-speed delivery, and their sleazy argumentative tactics that skated right along the edge of outright dishonesty, were feared as the meanest eye-gougers and ear-biters in the game. Alex and I were about to find out why. Wisner stood up to begin the debate, and 7 minutes later, he had ripped his way through 2,800 words. When you were a kid, did you ever clip playing cards into the spokes of your bicycle wheels to make motor noises? That's exactly what Wisner sounded like at 400 words a minute. Alex and I were doomed. There's a fundamental rule in debate. Silence is agreement. If you don't answer an opponent's argument, you have accepted it. I could only sustain about 300 words a minute, and so I just didn't have the time to respond to everything that Wisner had said. During his speech, Schultz made my abject failure abundantly clear to the judge. And then he shoveled more arguments onto the pile, making Alex's job impossible. 90 horrible minutes later, it was over, and we had lost. And I mean all capital letters, bold-faced, underlined, italics, lost. You didn't think this was going to be an inspirational speech about how two guys from Eastern Washington State College could knock off the #1 team in the nation, did you? No. It was our most spectacular loss ever. And losing was not a novel experience for us. Alex and I were in about 500 debates in our 4 years, and we lost about 150 of them. Think of that, 150 ballots explaining why we were not good enough. If I arranged them end to end, they would span this room twice. However, losing that much actually taught me a priceless lesson, one I've carried with me for almost 50 years now. Most of the time in life, we cannot choose winning over losing. Very often, despite our best efforts and our finest preparation, losing just happens. However, we can always choose whether or not we will feel beaten, whether we will feel diminished, whether we will feel like giving in and giving up. Alex and I knew it was inevitable. We were going to win a certain fraction, or lose a certain fraction of our debates. But we resolved we would never feel beaten, not even by Schultz and Wisner. Were we just stupid? Well, sure, about a lot of things, but not about that. If we let our losses in life define us as losers, they have the power to destroy us. But if we use our losses in life to educate us, to inform us, they have the power to make us better and stronger in every way. Do you have a Schultz and Wisner in your life? Somebody or something you struggle against? I think most of us do. When we that's interesting. When we struggle against them and lose, there's no shame in that if we've given it our best effort. But if we give in, if we allow ourselves to be diminished, then we not only have lost, we are lost. Madam Toastmaster.